Here's some flipped cars. That one looks showroom quality as far as we can tell. Now, there's leaves on the trees, branches still in place. Why would the car be upside down? Where are the scorch marks on this bus? If it were on fire, regular conventional fire, wouldn't you see, charred marks or something where you'd see where the flames had been? And this looks like it's just melted plastic. You can see what day it is and approximately what time of day, because building 7 is still there and you don't see that lather pouring out of the side of it. I call this the swamp, this street, because it looks like a swamp. But it's probably no later than about 3 p.m. But notice this car already has rust on it.
Go, let's go. Go. 3, 2. Oh, man. More debris falling from a nearby building, the World Trade Center. We're at West Broadway and Barclay. Very difficult to breathe here, but look around. This must have been ground zero where this thing blew up. Car after car after car. Buses completely obliterated and burned straight down to the steel. Behind me,
here are more images from that street. That toasted bus, mail truck that's just slopped over. This vehicle, this car, notice the windshield. No traces of even the rubber seal around it. It almost looks like it was sandblasted, ready for a new paint job. And this abrupt line between the toasted front end and the not toasted side. There's something going on with the engines. A lot of folks think these are just regularly burnt cars. So here's a comparison. This one that has this nice, clean look, and from a regular car fire you get these burn lines. Also, it has the gradations here. Another telltale, burnt cars usually have scraps of glass left in the corner. Here's another comparison. The stuffing of a burnt car usually has something left in it, where the toasted cars there's nothing whatsoever left in it. I think that's trash that was tossed in later, but of the inside is gone. And the gradation here between the blacks is a blue car, blackened area, and the burnt door. Here's the toasted car park. My detractors like to say toasted cars don't count because they're towed. Well, it doesn't matter if they're towed, they're still weird toasting patterns. But these vehicles we know were not towed. Here's the camera views we're going to look at. Here they are, while they're being toasted. You see the apparent flames. Unburned paper in between. How does that work? Why just the vehicles? And you can see the approximate distance. That's the perspective. And they're not toasted yet. And here they are a little bit closer. It's interesting, before I found these before pictures, I thought that was a white car right there. But it's black. People evacuating the area. There's that black car. There it is, toasted. Can you tell what color it had been? Just totally toast. Weird fires. They don't behave like regular fires, so I can't call them fires. Weird fires, Cheeto fires, I sometimes call them. Cheetos. I think you call them wetsits. But they look like these little glowing things you'll see on the ground. So I sometimes call those Cheeto fires, just so that we know in our minds that they're not the same thing as regular fires. There's something going on there. Patrick Connolly, firefighter, went into building 7 in the side door here. I think he's the one that left the door open. He didn't like the looks of it in there, didn't think he'd be safe, so he came out. This was right about the time that one of the towers turned to dust. The dust goes up and blocks out 100% of the sunlight, so you can't see your hand in front of your face. When he comes out, he can't see anything, and then he says, thank goodness the car went into spontaneous combustion, because then he could see where he was. So this car here, and then he made his way up the street, and as he walked up the street, cars were lighting up as he passed them. And note, this is after the tower was destroyed. So he went out of building 7 at point A up to intersection C and turned. And you'll see, you know, the different coloring on the street. Everything was toasted up to that point on the street. Vehicles, that is. Trees weren't toasted, buildings weren't toasted. How did they catch on fire, or apparent fire? These buildings don't have any debris on them. How did the debris only, if it's debris caused, only go down in those canyons? Why would debris do that and not land on the buildings? Okay, even if it did, why would the debris only affect cars and not the paper in between them? Here's the firemen going for lunch. Ho hum. They're not concerned about a car exploding. Actually, some of them said that initially water had no effect on the car fires. Engines weren't exploding. The paper wasn't burning. Weird. Here's another image, paper rounds. These look like little Wetsits or Cheetos. Igloo cooler that's plastic, a plastic trash can. And if that's fire that's white hot, it's got to be hotter than like 1200 degrees centigrade. Then you'd have some melted plastic around it. You'd also have this aluminum cladding wilted over it. Often folks say there's pools of molten metal. Well, there's no solidified metal pulled out of there. Also, if it's that hot, you wouldn't have unburned paper all around it. If it's glowing white hot, it has to be at least 1200 centigrade. If it's glowing because it's hot. Hot things glow, but not everything that glows is hot. Think of an incandescent light versus a fluorescent light. Aluminum melts at about 650 to 660 degrees centigrade, depending on the alloy, which is a whole lot less than white hot. So if aluminum is going to glow, it's going to be a puddle. It's a puddle by the time it gets to that temperature, unless it's glowing for a different reason. Let's look again. Right. That's actually the original Cheeto. But if we look at this aluminum cladding that doesn't even look wilted, and if you notice in this one end, and let's look at a blow-up of it, to me that looks like it could be glowing on that end. But why isn't that paper burnt?
We have the videotapes. The firefighters reporting molten metal like a slurry or a steel mill or a volcano. Those are quotes.
Well,
Giant pools.
What about the pictures of them dragging oxygen hoses all over the steaming supposed hot metal? If it were that hot, you wouldn't dare do that, would you?
Well, we do have the infrared photos of the molten metal.
Well, again, what melted the metal? Was it heat?
Interesting hearing Alex Jones speechless. Right, was it heat or was it something else? If you were at the end of that oxygen fuel hose, I mean, would you do that if the ground was that hot? No. And this is not hot. It looks like it, but if that were steam, these guys would look like steamed clams or a grilled cheese sandwich. Here's that satellite image. It's my understanding the image was taken by NASA, given to USGS, who did something with the data, handed to Jet Propulsion Labs, who did something else with the data, and they came up with this. I don't know what it shows, but it's not conventional heat. Because at point E, they claim is 819 Fahrenheit. I don't know if you know when things happen, what the boiling temperature is in Fahrenheit. It's 212. So this guy here should look like a boiled chicken. There's building 3 and there's water in front of it. A water main broke that afternoon. It didn't boil, explode. Let's look again. All this unburned paper. This is West Broadway, which I call the swamp. Look at these toasted cars. The trees are not toasted. The buildings are not toasted. The traffic lights aren't toasted. Only the vehicles. Wonder why. So here are more vehicles being toasted. This is that intersection C that Patrick Connolly walked through when cars were lighting up. This picture here is the same except with different contrast so that you can better see this fire on this, or apparent fire on the side of the van. What's burning? It's on the side of the van. And there's little Cheetos on the ground. During the cleanup, here's some apparent spontaneous combustion. Nothing's burning. Like what's going on there? Hot steel-toed boots melting? Does that make sense? That's the best answer these girls
The women
got.
go in and out of Ground Zero up to 10 times a night, often until 2 in the morning, delivering whatever it is rescue workers need to do their jobs, like the ones working in the hotspots.
Steel-toed boots is one of the biggest things.
Steel-toed boots?
Steel-toed boots. Out still on the rubble, it's still, I believe, 1,100 degrees. The guys' boots just melt within a few hours, and they're burning their feet.
Huh? There were no reports of burned feet, but at a minimum, if my steel oven is melting, the turkey inside is more than well done. Does it make sense that these guys are walking around on a grill that's 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit? These girls aren't material scientists. They're engineers. They're doing the best they can. That's the best answer they were given. But what they are telling us is that something weird is going on with boots. Boots are coming apart. They're disintegrating. Why? Mayor Giuliani thought it was 2,000 degrees on the ground below him. I don't think he's a material scientist either.
There were fires of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit below the ground. I could be standing here and you could be standing there. And I could be describing to you, Governor, the site. And then a fire would break out in between us. And it was just by luck or the design of God that we weren't killed.
Just where was he? But he's not trying to look like an idiot. That's just the best he can do with the information he's given. That's what we all do. But 2,000 degrees, something else is going on. Something else is causing this apparent spontaneous combustion. So rolled up carpets. If the columns, if the building was overloaded because it was weakened from heat, building going thunk down, it would be bent around the horizontal axis. But these columns are straight. Does that look like it was crushed from too much weight on it? That doesn't make sense. Here's what these columns should bend like if they were overloaded. Or if a really fast, hard force came down, pile driver, you'd get a bowing out. That didn't happen. Here's what happened. Here's one of those sets of wheat checks. They're curled around the vertical axis. I'd say that looks more like a rolled up carpet. And that looks more like a lasagna noodle. How do you load a beam like that to get it to curl? It's not a mechanical load. Here's a straight column with a spandrel belt, and it's curled around the vertical axis. More curling and over curling. How do you curl a beam more than 180 degrees? And how do you curl it without making any cracks in the around those bends? This was in Baker's Trust, which was across the street from Tower 2. That's pretty weird. How do you get it to bend like that or wrinkle up? Looks like a curling ribbon. If you get a beam to buckle, that's one mode. Here's another mode. It sure doesn't do that. Different kind of loading must be going on. There's the lasagna noodle. And there's somebody who can reproduce that type of effect. This is the work of John Hutchison, and it's a solid piece of molybdenum, about 2.5 inches in diameter. So I decided I'd get in touch with him. I sent him this picture. I said, does your neighborhood ever get to looking like this?